then there was a gentleman who was introduced to me by one of these relationships we got, which was a top, I won't want to mention probably is a FTSE 100 company. They introduced me to him through my accountant, and he told me about a deal that all of us, the accountant believed in the deal, the company believed in the deal, because we now started getting into property.
Wow.
So he was a fraud, and we lost money at that time.
All right, guys, but now we're going to move to the next part of our show because we don't want to lose any more time, because we're going to be finishing the show earlier today, and we want to get into the interview that we're doing with Mr. Effie. Yep. So, Mr. Effie, thank you for joining us. This is the Pursuit of Success today on The Breakfast Show, and you've literally it's easy to ask, okay, what the person has now, right? Yes. And people can say, and he can be like, wow, you've done this, you've done that, and people can be in awe and amazed, and they will feel detached from the story that people give at their present state and where they could potentially be at when they're hearing that person's story, right? But the thing about it is, to have or be somewhere, you need to start from somewhere. Exactly. And you've already shared with us your show. Those of you who haven't checked it out on Robust Life TV, make sure you do. Where basically, you had a good upbringing, parents who provided, right? Yes. And the thing about your parents is that they worked a lot, so there wasn't much time with you, but they made sure that you had everything you needed. However, as you got on in your own life, there was, I think you had a bit of uncertainty in certain choices that you made. And so there was a instability. Then you had a son come along, so that and obviously you met your wife, you chose your wife, and she was a person who was very willing, to grow and develop. So when you came to the help center and you learnt teachings from the help center, it helped you guys a lot. And your wife even started a cleaning company, and you supported her in the cleaning company. And then you went to do the work of God full time as well. Yes. And then after you said, you know what, and you decided to make some new changes, and your wife is like, okay, here we go. Mm-hmm. And then, so because you were full time for the time you was doing the work of God, when you came back, you had to start from zero. And that's where we are on your story right now. And this is what we're looking at, because maybe right now you're not at zero, right? But there are attitudes that I'm sure you learned and challenges that you faced that allowed you to be ready to build something. All right. So I've given you a bit of a synopsis on what happened. We're going to continue the story. All right. We're going to go for a very short time out. All right. And we're going to hear the rest of what Mr. Effie has to share with us, because it's going down. And trust me, the challenges have not stopped. That's one thing we need to learn, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, after that, and you started from zero with things easy.
No.
Right? So this is great. And the great thing is this is you're going to see how faith combined with intelligence, combined with attitudes, can make all the difference. And risk taking. Yes. When he said, that's a risk, you should see how his eyes light up. It's interesting. All right, let's go for a time. I'll be right back after this. Let's go. All right, but anyway, so let's continue the story. So we gave you a synopsis, and now, Mr. Effie, you came off from doing work God full time, and now you're starting from scratch.
Yes.
What were the thoughts in your mind?
Wow, that's a very interesting question. The thought in my mind was to really it was to really show the greatness of God and for me to be faithful to God, to be a servant of God. I didn't really think, to be honest, as we've said previously, I don't really think too deep into things. To be honest, I don't think I thought too deep about what I was doing. Obviously, the consequences were there, the reactions, but I think I now realize afterwards, but I didn't really think too much of it.
Yeah.
And that's how I've been very easygoing.
So that's a golden nugget there. So sometimes procrastination can be, sometimes over planning and overthinking can be the root cause of procrastination.
Exactly. So I didn't think too much of it, to be quite honest. I just thought, no, now I just want to do something different. I want to be faithful to God. That was the main thing, not to ever leave God. But I know I said zero. I had zero, but I had everything. And that's faith. To be honest, I was really full of faith. I know that I was sure of what. And sometimes God works in different ways. I looking back now, and really having time to think through everything, I would say I'm even surprised at the steps I took. You know what I mean?
When you look back, you'll be like, I did what?
That's
I did what?
Exactly. Exactly. So I didn't think too much of it. My main goal was just to be very close to God, not to really lose focus. And I really had the strong faith that it will be well.
No.
But I didn't know how.
Yeah.
I really did not know how, because I didn't really think through
the detail.
I didn't really think through what I was going to do. I didn't plan. There was no, which was good in a sense, but I just had that childish faith that it will be well.
So, I mean, because right now you're starting from zero. I mean, what was it like? Because I believe your wife was a woman of faith, but sometimes women can be a bit, they want to see where the whole roadmap is. But obviously every situation is different. I mean, so we have faith, but with the environment, how was it, with your wife and everything like that? What was that like?
I would say there was no time to think too much, because what I did very quickly. And also, I learned from the help center, from the work of God, that you could bring blood out of stone. You know what I mean? So,
salt on that.
Yes.
Salt, and if you didn't get it, you get it.
You could bring blood out of stone, and nothing is impossible. Yes. So that was what I had, and we were both in that sort of faith. So as long as we were looking to serve God and not in any way reducing that service to God, that was what
will be okay.
Yes, it will be okay. As long as I was pleasing God, that was my main goal. As long as I was pleasing God, I was looking to serve God. Because, I must say something that I think is very important. I wasn't driven by material possession. I really wasn't at all. I had really truly not ever thought I would have the material things I have today.
That's important. So
yes.
The intention of our hearts is important.
Exactly. And only God knows that.
Yeah, and only God knows that. And you know what's interesting as well, what you said, that your only concern was serving God. And I can agree with this as well, because I think one thing I learned as well is that in life, whenever a problem comes, you can have a problem that's external and you can have a problem that's internal.
Yes.
Right? So internally, thankfully, externally, anything can happen. Challenges will always happen in life. Challenges will always happen in the world. But there's this checklist. The checklist is, am I with God? Ding, yes. So God is with me. Ding, so let's go. if there's any falter in that checklist, then you're going, but you're not going in full strength.
Exactly.
Anything can happen with you.
Exactly.
But because you had that checklist and it was to please God, you had that confidence to step forward.
That is it.
So what was, and also I think also having your wife on board is important, because your partner dictates what happens inside of you. Right? Because it's like a double weight if you have a partner who's not in the same faith with you. It can be a challenge. You have to push through, you know, we have to pray, right? But that's how important our spouses are, right? Because then you have a challenge internally as well as externally, even though you're doing your part to be right before God. So there's this dynamic, but if we get those 3 checkpoints right, we're good to make things happen. So what was your first move then?
Okay, the first move was, as I did mention last time, that I had a magazine on franchises, on business really, that I got, again, not knowing I will use one day, but I got it to help people. So I got it, I saw an advertisement for a franchise, and I didn't have the money, but I had an idea. I drove to Manchester, you know, town just close to Manchester, and I persuaded the gentleman who was there then and said, look, I don't have the money, but I have this idea. And that's how it all started. That was the first breakthrough.
So you had an idea.
Yes.
You saw a gap in the market. You drove all the way to Manchester.
Yes.
See, it's faith, right?
Yes.
Faith isn't lazy.
That's it.
That's another nugget right there. Faith isn't lazy. And basically you pitched him. You saw where it was that you could bring clients to him. You pitched him on it and he accepted it.
Accepted.
Yeah. And that was for you to jump into his franchise, or
yes, to work with him. So anyway, we then had an agreement to work together. So we managed to persuade a lender to work with us. And on that product, and that worked. And from there we had a relationship. That was the first breakthrough. So because it was like, you know, I would say the gap was, you have the ultra high net worth, which have high net worth individuals, which have
ultra high net worth individuals.
Yes, they have home offices, they have family offices, they have private banking, but you have that high net worth that sometimes they don't really understand how these things work. So the normal banks may not be able to cater for all their needs because they don't quite qualify into that private banking, or they may do, but they don't have that access, or they are not aware. You know, so this was the sort of gap, because when you go, there's certain if you walk into a branch, sometimes they are very black and white, you know, but there's that gap where private banking, or when you have a family office, they do things for you.
Okay, they can kind of like sweeten the deal a bit better.
Exactly.
And so you had to educate yourself on that field of how that kind of field worked, right? That kind of financial environment. You had to educate yourself.
Exactly. So we then built from that relationship. So that became like the model to build relationships with different. So starting with that, then I now say, okay, I can actually do this. Okay. You know, obviously having the first breakthrough, people surprised that we could do that. I could do that. Then referring clients. Then I started building relationships with different entities, offshore companies, offshore banks, solicitors firm, accountants. So we built bit by bit, we're building that sort of network so we could provide a holistic service. Oh wow. So that was good. That was then we were able to now provide a service whereby we could give advice on how to structure assets, the best, most tax efficient way of structuring assets.
Was you the person to do that, or did you hire someone to do that?
Well, I would say doing that with experts.
Okay.
Because I'm not regulated.
You're just connecting people.
Exactly.
Hey.
Exactly.
So, I mean, didn't you feel a bit like, I don't want to use the word intimidated, but next thing all of a sudden you're in front of these other big companies. I mean, how did you feel approaching them? Did you feel like, I need to be mindful of how I speak, or, would you like, no, this is what's going to happen? How was you when you're approaching them?
Everything was just natural, to be honest. I didn't really, I'm sure you feel intimidated, but because, I'm very confused. I was very shy, very reserved. But the strength was in prayer. Yeah. So when I'd really, normally from learning from the help center and doing the purposes, doing my prayers, when I've done the spiritual part, I was sure that it would be well. Yeah. Irrespective of the physical outcome.
Hercules, are you getting this?
Yes.
Are you getting this, Hercules?
Yes. I'm listening. I'm deep in everything.
Irrespective of the physical outcome. So that prayer.
Don't forget your fault. But it's just what you just said. Irrespective of the physical outcome. Doesn't matter what the physical outcome is. I know everything's gonna go good.
That is it.
Hey,
that is it. Because with God, it will go good, and that's how it was. I've had challenges. For example, after building this sort of relationship, having the first breakthrough, then there was a gentleman who was introduced to me by one of these relationships we got, which was a top, I won't want to mention it probably is a FTSE 100 company. It introduced me to him through my accountant, and he told me about a deal that all of us, the accountant believed in the deal, the company believed in the deal, because we now started getting into property.
Wow.
So he was a fraud. And we lost money at that time. So you can imagine, they lost about £25,000.
Hey, Mijuli did ask the question, Mr. Effie, what was your biggest challenge and how did you deal with it?
Yes. So
there you go, Mijuli.
But that's not the biggest
one. Oh, wow.
But anyway.
Yeah, that's on the way. Yeah.
That was the biggest one there.
So how did you react to that?
How did I react to that? That was, I believe, and he almost got more money from me.
Oh, sorry, we're laughing now, but my goodness.
Yes. But what he did, he swindled the whole.
No. Yes, so everything that was developed, he came in and kind of brought this situation.
He brought a deal, and the deal looked good. It looked well. It was a property transaction, and he got money not just from me, but from different parties.
Wow.
So it was from all of us, I think about 200,000.
Oh, wow.
Together. But what he did then, lack of experience, you see, this is where it comes in. We actually had an agreement, and he put a charge on the property. But obviously, how many other charges are on the property? So it depends on because it's an order of priority. So first charge, second charge, third charge. So I was like the bottom. I don't know, maybe fourth.
So a charge is like when you have to pay something.
A charge, yes. What it is when you owe someone, like if you want to borrow money, then you say, okay, I put my property as a guarantee. So that person can register a charge on the property.
Okay.
So normally the lender, a lender is normally the one who, like, your mortgage is the first charge.
Yeah.
Then you can get a second charge.
Oh, wow.
Yes, but the preference, if anything goes wrong, if there is distress, the one who gets first is the one first charge. So this gentleman was very clever.
Yeah.
He got a very nice property in, I think it was in St. John's Wood.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and he got the property. He said, look, I can put my property, but he had done that with so many people.
Wow, this guy
is it's in order of priority.
Oh, wow.
So by the time because he did it deliberately, knowing he wouldn't pay, not that it was really a financial transaction, because the money he got, he didn't disclose. He got over 200,000.
Wow. So did you feel upset with the guy? Did you
Obviously,
ask
you
for the
feel
lightning to
upset.
come down where he is and
upset.
incinerate him?
You do everything, you pray, you feel upset. I prayed, I did everything. But it was a fraud, and that was it. But what happened, the idea that he had was a good idea. Just that he was not a good person.
Yes.
So what happened, I then took the idea and used it.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
I took the idea and I used it, and it was more in the property side.
Yeah.
Which is then you could do, which is really buying and selling property without really putting much money down. At that time, you could really do that.
So that problem became an education.
Yes.
That's interesting, guys. Like, are we paying attention here, champions?
Yeah.
Are we paying attention? This is it. So sometimes you're facing a problem, but there is a lesson or an education that could take you into a whole new environment, a whole new situation for your own growth. This is amazing. We need to be spiritually attentive for that.
Yes.
You know.
And I made a lot of money from that. So if you think about it, if I were to go to pay for a course, I will pay maybe even twice, even maybe 4 times that, or 10 times that.
Yes.
You know, if I know what that will do for me, that would have done for me, I would have paid that money.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone told me, pay £25 and you will learn this, and it will give you what it is giving me today.
Yeah.
I will do that any day. In fact, it will be very cheap.
Wow. Have you done a course to teach people this? You need to. I think this is something powerful.
For free, but
yeah.
So basically, so that was that, and that was good. So that put us really big time in property, and we had the structure and everything was going very well.
So did you get help to set up the structure, or did you have to do it yourself?
It was basically really trying to buy properties without putting money down at that time. And that was it was a genuine
brilliant.
And that's what he sold to us.
Yeah.
And we saw it, because these were people who were seasoned in the industry.
Yeah.
So the idea was, at that time, was very clear. It was a simple idea that could work.
So you replicated the system and you had the structure in place.
Yes.
So now you're involved in property.
Yes.
So you can see the progression, guys. So from nothing to traveling to Manchester, the next step kept getting revealed. Even a problem revealed the next step.
Exactly.
And then what was your next move?
The next move, we started doing that. Then it means property portfolio started increasing. Doing that and charging a fee to clients. So that was a big thing. Then I now thought, look, I will not be able to manage all this within house. We tried to, but there was a bit of conflict.
Yeah.
So we then thought, okay, the best thing, no experience in managing property as such.
So let's bring this down a bit so we can see your face. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. No experience in managing property as such. So I then said, okay, we bought an agency in 2006.
Hey.
Yes, but that was also fate, because it was 100% loan.
Wow.
To buy the agency.
But the opportunity just came up.
The opportunity came because I tried to manage the property in-house within the structure, but it wasn't working because of lack of experience and the conflict as well. Because when you've sold the property and you're trying to manage it, sometimes clients want to be more demanding.
It's true, isn't it? So you need to have something in the middle.
Exactly. I thought it was not tidy enough.
So these problems brought you to think more, and new opportunities or solutions presented themselves.
Exactly.
And so you have now a property agency.
Yes.
Hey, Chai.
So we then bought the agency. We paid for it. Unfortunately, the person who was supposed to be in charge of the agency was not, changed their mind, which was fine. But then I had an agency, but no one to
manage. Wow.
So I then said, look, I got my wife. I said, look, she was totally doing something totally different. She was doing something totally different.
Wow.
I said, look, my darling, what can we do about this situation? And she took the plunge. It was a huge plunge because she didn't have any experience in. Yes.
One thing you said about one of your wife's characteristics is that she's someone who's very willing.
Yes.
That characteristic is still paying off even in that situation right there.
Exactly.
Wow.
So she took the
probably had to twist both of her arms. We can do it, woman.
I will tell you a story, funny side of it. Then when she took over the business, when they were handing over, obviously there was a period of
transition.
The previous owner were there, and when she looked at the account, they are taking the money, and she said, what, how do we run the business? Now you have to prove.
Wow. Goodness. Oh my god.
Because obviously that was their money.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So now, how am I going to pay the workers? How am I going to run the business?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. This is strong.
Yes, and but the good thing is, I've seen there are things that are miracle that you will say, look, this is really a miracle. Because in that case, if you think about it, if I went to an accountant and say, look, I want to purchase a business 100% without experience in the industry, they would tell me, look, don't even.
Yeah, the door would be closed.
Yes, the door would be closed. But that's where faith comes in, where really you have to take the plunge, but it will be your responsibility with your eyes open. Then you have to take responsibility and ownership of the consequences.
It's true. I think many times we want to run away from the consequences, and we don't act because there could be consequences.
Exactly.
So when you take ownership, you have confidence to face whatever comes on the action you take.
Yes.
Yeah. So you go for it. Yeah.
So that put us in that agency. It was very good. We still own it now, and it's grown. It's really grown. We paid off the loan in, I think, a very short time.
Hey, we love that.
Everything. And I've seen different things happen through that, because we now manage blocks over all over London.
Wow,
properties,
amazing.
Sales, we do lettings through that. So and it gave us a very good base, a structure.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean. And we've been growing in that area, because then the idea was developed in the sense that we started doing developments. So but I will say that in all this, you will see the hand of God, because some things have happened that have never happened again. And it's really God. There was a time we purchased a property for a client, I think for about 600,000. Then after about 2 or 3 years, the Grosvenor Estate, which run the Duke of Westminster is there around Belgravia. They just contacted the agency and said they wanted to buy the property.
Oh wow!
Honestly, no, the property it wasn't advertised.
Wow!
It wasn't advertised for sale or anything.
Effie, and this is amazing.
And guess what? Guess what happened? I'll tell you, it's not finished yet. So they put a price. So the property was purchased for around 600,000. They now say they want it for 1.1.
Hey!
1.15, I think. I told you, and I said, do you want to sell? Because it wasn't advertised. They just found out that we manage it. And
wow.
And that's how they contacted us.
Oh my gosh.
And guess what? I now said, the client said, yes, I will sell at 1.15. Then I told them 1.3.
Wait, they said 1.5.
1.15.
Okay, and you said you upped it to 1.3.
Even though he was ready to sell at 1.15.
Oh my gosh. I'm looking at the fire in your eyes and it's like, wow.
At that time.
This is strong thing. So you had confidence to be like, okay, there's something going on here.
Yes.
So
wow. They ended up agreeing at 1.3.
Hey.
So I said, okay, I told the client, look, they've agreed at 1.3. Let's share the extra.
Yeah.
And he agreed. That's on top of the fees, obviously. That was just like a bonus.
Wow. So this is normal.
So we shared both. We shared £150,000 in two, apart from the other fees that you normally charge as an estate agency.
Strong things. Because we're running out of time.
Okay.
And we're running out of time. So I mean, if you could just tell us, if you could just kind of staircase to us, like what you did, just if you could just do little jumps, like in 2 minutes.
Okay, sure.
Yep. So we got there. Yeah.
So we've got there. So from there on, we then started a maintenance company.
Wow.
We then bought into an offshore company. So
wow.
So these are all the structures now.
Yeah.
So I now started having interest.
Wow.
So we own 25% of a company in Jersey.
Okay.
That provides fiduciary services and trust services. So I'm an approved person in Jersey.
Wow.
So
it's been expanding. It's been growing.
Expanding. Then in 2018, I was made like a fellow of the Guild of Entrepreneurs.
Whoa!
And which for you to be that, it means you are a seasoned entrepreneur. You've been established. You have integrity.
Hey,
you are linked to the City of London.
Wow!
So, but in all this, it has helped me to pray even more, to seek God more, because I really see the grace of God and the hand of God in all this. So for me, it's really, really seeking God more. Just to say that before we finish is that God blesses. There is the natural way, and it all comes from God. God has instituted ways, has established ways in this world for us to sow and reap. But only God can give you the true reward, the true blessings. For example, Esau and Jacob, they were blessed. Esau was blessed.
It's true.
But the one who had the true was Jacob.
Wow. Guys, look, I hope you're getting these nuggets here, because it's going down today, and I know that your journey is big, because you got a lot more to share. But I think the basic things that we got from you today, Effie, firstly, because many times what I'm hearing now is that many times people know how to seek God, but they just stay seeking God. They don't go. You've got all this, but it took that one magazine that was in the corner of the room when there was nothing, and then you traveling to Manchester, and things started to go step by step from there. Not without problems, not without challenges, but in the challenges, facing them in faith, there was that growth, that development. I think you got even more and more confidence as you went along as well.
Many challenges.
Hey,
many challenges.
I think one day we have to do a show where we just talk about the challenges, like listen to here's 10 of the 100 challenges that you faced. You think you got problems? Listen to this. We'll organize that. But also, but having God at the center, being close to God, that was like the framework woven in everything, in all your journeys, in everything you was doing. I perceive that's where ideas came from, confidence came from. Dealing with growth, that's where that came from. And so you clung to him even closer, clung to him even more. This is really amazing. And having people around you that are willing, it was a huge thing. And and it was just very bold. Your faith made you bold, and so everything that's happened to you is not an accident. No, it's not an accident. We didn't know what was ahead, but there was intentional actions that were taken.
And God sees, God knows the motive. As I said, I didn't really think too much about all this. It's just natural. It's been natural for me.
Yeah, wow.
Everything has just fallen into place, It's like not a deep person. I just see it as it is. I think that helps. Absolutely. But it's also a practical. But I think it's good. I think
God to use that for something, isn't it?
I think it's good to have that sort of, not to be too deep, When someone puts a paper here, thinking, why is that? Why is that this way? Why is it? I'm just saying, it's a paper. It's fine. Let's go.
Let's go for it. Keep it simple. Effie, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you so much. We have our breakfast show talkers, but I can't go through it now, guys. Everyone's just saying powerful. Yes, create a course, please. Mr. Effie needs to come back. Well done, Eva, by the way. So it's been really good, very powerful, and I've learned a lot of things. Guys, the next month is coming. We have to make it a big next month. With what we've learned from Effie to here, it shows you that anything can happen. Put God first and go, right? Good first. Don't be too deep. Like, just go, right? Effie, thank you so much for today.
You're welcome. Pleasure.
Yeah, I'm only because we're running out of time. But get ready because you're going to probably get another call from me.
It's
but
okay.
We'll give you a little bit of a break.
Okay.
A reprieve to go and do what you need to do with your normal life.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And guys, this has been your breakfast show today. Like we said, we're finishing earlier today, but I hope these nuggets and Effie's story his journey has inspired you. Thank you, Hercules, for being a great man of sound.
No problem.
And those of you who are on the breakfast show WhatsApp line, make sure you can come through to us, and definitely probably gonna do some more stuff with Effie as well on the Robust Live TV channel, okay, as well as Liberty Radio. So guys, stay strong, stay powerful, stay robust. Thank you so much, and until next time, ciao for now. Wow. You are on the globe, start your morning right. Monday to Friday from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. UK time. Join Robert Ashite and Hercules, your man of sound. Connect online Monday to Friday with special guests for inspiration, motivation to start your morning right. Music, banter, fun and laughter. Connect when you start your mornings with The Breakfast Show. Only on libertyradio.co.uk. That's right, The Breakfast Show is back. libertyradio.co.uk from 6:30 a.m.